it is true there is no straight answer to these questions. But it is also true that the international community, through dialogue and debate, has been forging a minimum set of standards. I think we can safely say at this point that this emerging consensus about what is clearly unacceptable encompasses, first, crimes against humanity like ethnic cleansing or the use of famine as a weapon of war. Second, atrocities like the systematic use of torture against political opponents. Third, the indiscriminate violence against the civilian population in situations of armed conflicts. The point I would like to stress is that the global public opinion today plays a critical role in this debate. It is no longer up only to states and international organizations to set the standards. The voices influencing the process of deliberation are many and diverse. This leads me to the second challenge facing human rights in the global era. Today, both state and non-state actors are increasingly responsible for the violation and the promotion of human rights. This is a challenge and an opportunity for the cause of human rights. A challenge because it is much more difficult for the international community to protect the victims of atrocities perpetrated by loosely organized networks such as Al-Qaeda. This problem is compounded by the proliferation of failed states incapable or unwilling to control the actions not only of terrorist organizations, but also to curb the growing power of global organized crime. In today's Latin America, for example, drug-related crime is no longer a problem for police and courts. It is a direct challenge to governments and societies. The rising power of the drug mafias and cartels is destroying not only the lives of our young people, they are also tearing apart the social fabric and undermining, through violence and corruption, the most basic institutions of democracy. As I say to you, that I belong to a group of people in Latin America who decided to organize a commission on drugs. Three former presidents of Latin America, with other novelists, social scientists, practitioners, we decided to organize a commission on drugs. And why? Because of what I had said just now. Drug is undermining democracy. It's not just a problem of drug by itself and police, it's also a political problem. If you look across the region, it's not just Colombia. Colombia is famous, but not just Colombia. In Rio, you have a very similar situation. If you go to Mexico, it's maybe still worse. It's a kind of situation of despair. When the government take the decision to fight drug trafficking, the government is losing the battle because the cartels are so well organized and so powerful, and they have penetrated so profoundly in government, but mainly in the local communities and provinces, that is extremely difficult to deal with this kind of criminals. On top of that, the crime has been also affected by the new era of globalization. Nowadays, not just Al-Qaeda is organized through new instruments and using internet and small organizations which can split and regain capacity to survive again and again and again, because there are no more hierarchy as it has in the past, as mafia in Italy had a boss. No, now it's different. It's no more necessary to have a hierarchy and a boss. Criminal people can organize very, very easily by themselves, but using the same instrument that we are using now, that is to say, the web, the internet, and reorganizing here and there. So it's still difficult to lead with drug trafficking, not just in Latin America, across the world. Anyhow, I think that because of that, the growing role of non-state actors is also an opportunity insofar as so many more voices are being heard in the defense of human rights. They range from organizations with great legitimacy, such as Amnesty International, to the rising role played by a wide variety of new actors, spiritual and civic leaders, citizen groups, and public opinion. 40 years ago, reports denouncing torture against political prisoners in Brazil had been physically carried by messengers to Europe and to the United States, often at considerable risk. One of the most effective actions promoted by Amnesty International was the sending by ordinary people of freedom letters to authorities responsible for the mistreatment of political prisoners. Information today is a common public good. A click in the internet and it will flow all over the web. Power is shifting from states to societies and from vertical organization to flexible networks. Informed and empowered individuals also participate in this great free-flowing conversation about what is admissible and what is not. The third challenge I wish to address is the threat posed to the world's poor by the global economic crisis that is upon us. With this concept of development as an expansion of freedom, Amartya Sen called our attention to the interconnection between political freedom, economic empowerment, social opportunities, transparency, and security. This vision contributed to the growing perception of extreme poverty and expanding global asymmetries as a violation of basic human rights. This question gains a new urgency in face of the growing impact of the current financial meltdown. It is essential to prevent the corrosion of the great progress achieved in the last decade in terms of getting millions out of poverty. In an article published 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago in the Financial Times, Kofi Annan, Michel Candesu, and Robert Rubin warned against the threat of a response to the crisis that does take not account the needs of the world's poor, or worse, that results in more poverty, hunger, disease, and illiteracy. Indeed, what a tremendous setback for the cause of human rights is poor people in poor countries were to pay the price for a crisis that they had no role in creating. Here again, we are confronted with risk and opportunity. Market fundamentalism has self-destructed in the same sudden and irrevocable way that the Soviet Union melted in the air. The reckless pursuit of profit at any cost has brought to a dead end. It is time to ask ourselves, what are the real foundations of our societies? What is quality of life